Good afternoon. Here we go again. This is the continuation of our lecture on fundamentals of accounting. We will now apply the principles of debit and credit by using the journal entries. Here we can see the replacement of increase-decrease by the terminologies of debit and credit for every business transaction. Let's proceed with the next slide. In the previous lectures, particularly on the first lecture that I conducted, we emphasized on the increase or decrease. So, for every transactions that we had, example, these are the examples of business transactions that we have taken up in lecture number 1. In the initial capital investment, we determined that there was an increase in asset and also an increase in capital. So in this lecture, the increase and decrease will be replaced by debit and credit, because the terminologies of debit and credit will be applied in every business transactions when preparing journal entries in accounting. So the debit and credit will replace the increase-decrease in the business transactions. The significance of this lecture is that it will serve as a great foundation for every accounting student, because throughout the course in accounting, in any accounting subjects, debit and credits will be used. Whatever type of accounting, whether advanced accounting, whether auditing, debit and credit will always be there. That is why it is significant, or it is very important for every student to know it by heart, so that you can survive or you can understand any accounting situation that you may encounter. So the debit and credit will be applied to the journal entries. The journal entries, themselves are the language of business. That is why it is a common saying to everybody that accounting is the language of business, because by just looking at the journal entries, you can understand the meaning of every transactions. So here is the application of the debit and credit that would result in the journal entries, which is considered the language of business. So let's proceed immediately with the problem. We will still use the problem that we have as an example in lecture number 1, and that is Alexa Grace Company. Because in lecture number 1, we use this problem to illustrate the increase or decrease in asset, liabilities, and capital. By this time, using the same problem, we will apply the principles of debit and credit. So for the second time, we will read the problem for your own appreciation. Miss Alexa Grace put up a small grocery store under the sole proprietorship form of business. So Miss Alexa Grace is the sole owner. The following transactions and events took place for the month of April 2020. So to make the situation simple, we just have a 1-month business transactions. So enumerated below are the business transactions of Alexa Grace. For the second time, I will read again for your own appreciation. On April 2, 2020, Miss Alexa Grace formed a sole proprietorship business with 2 million pesos cash as initial capital. So remember, for every transaction, we will determine the increase or decrease, and then we will replace that increase decrease by debit and credit by formulating journal entries. So you have to understand each and every problem. You must analyze so that you can come up with a correct journal entry. So on the same day, April 2, the company purchased office equipment worth 250,000 pesos for cash. And then on April 3, the following day, purchased office furniture and fixtures worth 75,000 for cash. The following day, on April 4, purchased store equipment for 125,000 pesos cash. On April 5, by this time, Alexa Grace started to operate her business. She purchased merchandise for cash amounting to 376,000 pesos. This bulk of merchandise are to be offered for sale in the grocery store. So this is now the start of business operation of Alexa Grace. On April 6, 2020, she purchased merchandise on account for 176,000 pesos. I hope you still remember our lesson last lecture 1. Alexa Grace purchased merchandise, but he did not pay the supplier. He just made a promise that this will be paid in the near future. On April 9, Alexa Grace sold merchandise for cash at a total selling price of 490,000 pesos. So Alexa Grace started selling her goods to her customers. On April 10, Alexa Grace sold merchandise on account at a total selling price of 560,000 pesos. So look at this transaction. Compare this to April 9. The business sold merchandise, but the customer did not pay them. The customer did not pay Alexa Grace, but the customer made a promise that they will pay in the future, and the amount is 560,000 pesos. Next, on April 11, paid the amount of 100,000 pesos for the merchandise that were previously purchased on account dated April 6, 2020. So this April 11 transaction pertains to the accounts payable that was incurred or that was recorded on April 6, 2020. So out of that payable, Alexa Grace settled 100,000 pesos. On April 13, 2020, Alexa Grace collected cash of 160,000 on previous sales on account dated April 10, 2020. So this transaction connects to the previous one dated April 10, wherein Alexa Grace sold merchandise on account, but by this time she collected 160,000 pesos out of those sales on account. On April 16, 2020, the company paid insurance policy of 24,000 that will cover fixed assets of the company for a 1-year period. So this is now an insurance policy paid by the company. On April 17, 2020, the grocery store paid salaries to their employees for 97,000 pesos. So the business is now incurring expenses. On April 25, the business paid the following expenses: office supplies 15,000, advertising 65,000, communication 34,000, utilities 13,000. And at the end of the month, the owner needs a certain amount of money for her personal use. So she decided to withdraw 27,000 pesos. So in this problem, we have 3 requirements. We will prepare journal entries for the above transactions. That is the first requirement. Number 2, we will post the transactions from the general ledger, from the general journal to the general ledger. And the last one, we will prepare trial balance. But by this time, because we do not have enough time to finish the 3 requirements under this lecture, we will only prepare journal entries. Requirements 2 and 3 will be prepared on the succeeding lecture. So what we are going to do today is to prepare journal entries for this transaction of Alexa Grace. So let's now proceed to the journal entries. So this is now the general journal. Take note, I indicated the page number. The general journal, page 1. This is significant for reference purposes. Later on, when we will post the transactions to the general ledger, you will appreciate the significance of page number. So this is the format of the general journal that I discussed in lecture number 2. We have the date, we have the particulars, the reference, and the debit and credit columns. We can now apply the principle of debit and credit. So I added another column, transactions. Actually, this column is not part of the general journal. This is not part of the document. I just indicated this column so that again you have to see the transactions. While discussing the journal entry, you can see the transaction on the left side, the column that I created, but this column, take note, is not part of the general journal. I just want for you to see it very clear. So the transaction, the first transaction that we will tackle will be the initial capital investment of the owner. The amount of investment is 2 million because Alexa Grace put up a grocery store and the initial capital of the owner is 2 million. We will prepare journal entry for this transaction. But before we proceed, when you are preparing the journal entry, being a beginner in accounting, that first point that you have to consider is that you ask yourself, what are the accounts affected? You ask yourself, in this first transaction, initial capital investment of 2 million pesos. If I will ask you a question, what are the accounts affected? Asset, liability, capital, revenue, expenses. What among those enumerated are affected? Yan. So, then the second question that you will ask to yourself is that, was there an increase or decrease in asset, liabilities, capital, revenue, and expenses? If your answer is yes, is there an increase? If your answer is yes, what is the specific account affected? And then the last question that you will ask to yourself is to what will be applied on the affected account. Is it debit or credit? So let's go back to the transaction. The initial capital investment is 2 million pesos. Let's answer the first question. What are the accounts affected? If I will ask you, is there an effect in your asset? Is there an effect in your liability? Is there an effect in your capital? Is there an effect in your revenue? Is there an effect in your expenses? If I will answer that question, my answer is there is an effect in asset. Because there will be an increase in asset. There was an increase in asset because this is the initial investment of the owner. If there is an increase in asset, what specific asset was increased? The specific asset increase is cash. So there was an increase in asset. According to our lesson in lecture number 2, increase in asset means debit or credit. Increase in asset means debit. What is specific asset? Cash. Cash is the specific asset. What will be your journal entry? Your journal entry, therefore, is a debit. What will be debited? It is an asset. What is specific asset? That is cash. So the date of our transaction is April 2, 2020. The first entry is debit. Debit cash, 2 million pesos. Why debit? According to our discussion in lecture number 2, increase in asset means debit. What is specific asset? It is cash. Debit cash, 2 million pesos. The reference number that I indicated is GL1. I assigned page number 1 for the account title, cash. Later on, we can see what is GL1 when we will post this transaction to the ledger. So for the meantime, please do not bother with the reference number. It is just an assigned page number. So we have focused our attention on the entry itself. So on April 2, the first entry is debit cash, 2 million pesos, because there was an increase in asset and cash is an asset. So remember, when you are preparing journal entry, if there is debit, there must be credit. Remember that. I will repeat. If there is debit, there must be credit. And the total debit and total credit must always be the same. They must be balanced all the time. So we have a debit of cash, 2 million. If that is the case, there must be credit. Debit and credit must go hand in hand for every transaction. For every transaction, if there is debit, there must be credit. You cannot make an entry with debit only. There is no such thing as an entry, journal entry with debit only without credit. In the same manner, you are not supposed to prepare journal entry with credit only without debit. If there is debit, there must be credit. The total debit and the total credit must be the same at all times. So in this particular transaction, what is credit? The credit must also be 2 million. Because, as I have said, the two must be the same all the time. So again, let's analyze. What are the accounts affected? Of course, asset is affected. Aside from asset, was there an effect in liability? There is none. Because you do not have any indebtedness. Is there an effect in your capital? The answer is yes. Because that is an initial capital investment. What is the effect in capital? The effect in capital is increase. According to our lesson, increase in capital means credit. That is why the next entry is AG capital or Alexa Grace capital of 2 million pesos. You will put that 2 million pesos on the credit side. So take note on how the particulars and account title are written. The credit of Alexa Grace capital is indented to show to the reader that the credit entry must be indented. So here you can see the clear entry. Debit cash 2 million, Alexa Grace Capital, credit 2 million. The total of debit and the total of credit must be the same all the time. So here, you can see a clear illustration. What is the explanation? I did not indicate, or I did not provide space for explanation, because the transaction itself on your left side, the initial capital investment of 2 million is the explanation. Because of lack of space in our PowerPoint presentation, I decided to consider the transaction as the explanation itself for the transaction. So that is the first entry on our first business transaction on April 2, 2020. Let's proceed to the second transaction. So the company purchased office equipment for 250,000 pesos cash. Remember, these transactions are those transactions written in our problem. I am just repeating the transaction and presented as part of the slide for your own understanding. So let's understand the transaction. Office equipment was purchased. Ask yourself, what are the accounts affected? Assets, liabilities, capital, revenue, or expenses? What are the assets affected? Or what are the accounts affected? So here, it is very clear that asset is affected because office equipment is an asset. We receive office equipment. What is the amount? 250,000 pesos. Was there an increase in asset? Yes. What specific asset? Office equipment. Increase in asset means debit. Therefore, the entry is debit office equipment that happened in April 2, 2020. Debit office equipment 250,000 pesos because there was an increase in asset. And the specific account title is office equipment. What else? As I have said, if there is debit, there must be credit. You are not supposed to make an entry, a journal entry with debit only. There must be credit. Of course, the credit must also be 250,000. But what is the account title to be used? What accounts are affected? According to the transaction, you purchase office equipment for cash. Meaning you paid cash. And cash is an asset. Therefore, your asset is affected. What specific asset is affected? That is cash. Increase or decrease? Decrease in cash. Decrease in asset means credit. Therefore, the credit entry is credit cash 250,000 pesos. So here you can see the clear picture of the transaction using the principle of debit and credit. Office equipment, debit 250,000 because that is an asset and there was an increase in asset. Credit cash 250,000 because you paid cash for the purchase of office equipment, and that is credit because that is a decrease in cash. So here you can see the clear picture. So that is the entry. The explanation is the purchase of office equipment for 250,000 cash. As I have said, because of lack of space, I decided to put that explanation the same with the transaction. So the next transaction, the third one, so again, the business purchase furniture and fixtures, 75,000 pesos cash. Again, what are the accounts affected? Asset is affected. Why? Because furniture and fixtures are assets. Was there an increase in asset? Yes, because you received furniture and fixtures. Increase in asset means debit. So the entry is debit, furniture and fixtures, 75,000 pesos, and that happened on April 3, 2020. So that is very clear. What is the credit? Of course, you have to credit 75,000 pesos because the debit and credit must be balanced at all time. So what will be credited? Was there a decrease in asset? The answer is yes. What is specific asset? You paid cash. Therefore, your cash was reduced. So, decrease in asset means credit. Therefore, credit is the next entry, credit cash of 75,000 pesos. So, take note of the reference. Later on, I will discuss the meaning of those reference during our posting to the general ledger. I will repeat the entry on April 3 for the purchase of furnitures and fixtures is debit office furnitures and fixtures 75,000 and credit cash 75,000 pesos. So as I have said, the transactions are also the explanations. In reality, the explanations should be written on the journal entry itself. But because of lack of space, I decided to write down the explanations the same as the transactions. Next, let's proceed to page 2 of the general journal. So we are now on the page 2. We will proceed with the next transaction. So the next transaction is also a purchase of asset. So the company purchased store equipment worth 125,000 pesos. Again, let's analyze. Was there accounts affected, or what are the accounts affected? The accounts affected actually is asset, because store equipment is an asset. Was there an increase in asset? The answer is yes. If there is an increase in asset, what is your entry? According to our lesson, increase in asset means debit. What is specific asset? Store equipment. That is why the entry is debit is store equipment of 125,000 pesos, and that happened on April 4, 2020. We debited store equipment because store equipment is an asset. Increase in asset means debit because you received the store equipment from the supplier. Since this is a journal entry, if there is a debit, there must be credit. Of course, you will credit 125,000, but what specific account will be used? What are the accounts affected aside from store equipment? Another asset was affected, and that is cash, because you paid cash for 125,000 pesos. Decrease in asset, decrease in cash. If there is a decrease in asset, that is credit. And credit cash for 125,000 pesos. So that is the transaction. Next transaction, purchase merchandise for cash, 376,000 pesos. This is now the business operation of Alexa Grace Grocery Store. What are the accounts affected? Let's analyze. Purchase of merchandise. When you purchase merchandise, purchases is considered cost. According to our discussion in lesson 2, expenses and cost. If there is an increase in expenses and cost, that is debit. So, since there was an increase in the purchase of merchandise because you received the merchandise, increase in cost means debit. So you will debit 376,000. What specific account will be used? You will use purchases. Therefore, the entry is debit purchases 376,000 pesos, and that happened on April 5, 2020. Why debit? Because purchases is cost. Increase in cost means debit. If there is debit, there must be credit. Of course, you will credit 376,000 pesos, but what specific account was affected? You paid cash. Therefore, decrease in cash. Cash is an asset. If there is a decrease in asset, that is credit. That is why credit cash 376,000 pesos. And that is the entry for the purchase of merchandise for cash amounting to 376,000 pesos. Next, purchase merchandise on account 176,000 pesos. Try to compare this transaction to the previous one on April 5. We purchased merchandise. We received the merchandise from the supplier, but we did not pay the supplier. Payment will be made in the future. We promised payment in the future. So, this is the same with the previous transaction. There was an increase in purchases. Purchases is cost. Increase in cost means debit. Therefore, we will debit purchases 176,000 pesos, and that happened on April 6, 2020. I repeat, purchases is cost. Therefore, increase in cost means debit. Did you pay cash? No. No cash payment was made. What did you do? You made a promise. And that promise is a liability. You created now a liability. And that liability is called accounts payable. Increase in liability means credit. That is why the entry is credit accounts payable 176,000 pesos. Again, I will repeat, the entry is debit purchases 176,000 pesos. It is debit because purchases is a cost. And then you credit accounts payable of 176,000 pesos. Why credit? Because there was an increase in liability. And accounts payable is a liability. So that is the entry for the purchase of merchandise on account. Next transaction. So we are now on the page 3 of General Journal. Next transaction, sold merchandise for cash for 190,000 pesos. So this is now the selling transaction. Alexa Grace Grocery Store sold merchandise for cash for 190,000 pesos. The question is, what are the accounts affected? Asset is affected. Why? Because you receive cash. You sold merchandise. You receive cash from the customers. So that receipt of cash is an increase in asset. Increase in asset means debit for 90,000 pesos. What is specific asset? Cash. Because cash is an asset. The entry therefore is debit cash for 190,000 pesos, and that happened on April 9, 2020. So that is the first entry. Since we have a debit of 490,000 pesos, there must also be a credit of 490,000 pesos because that debit and credit must be balanced at all time. So, what will be the credit? Try to analyze. What are the accounts affected? If there is debit, there must be credit. what will be the credit? Take note, this is sales. Sales is revenue. There was an increase in revenue. Increase in revenue means credit. Therefore, the entry is credit sales for 190,000 pesos. So here we can see the whole picture. We sold merchandise, we received cash, we debited cash, and then we credited sales because there was an increase in revenue. The total debit and the total credit must be the same at all times. Next transaction. Sold merchandise on account. Take note, you sold merchandise, but the customer did not pay you. You delivered the goods to the customer, but the customer did not make any payment. The amount is 560,000. Did you receive cash? No. Therefore, there was no increase in asset. Do you agree that there is no increase in asset? I disagree, because there was an increase in asset. What specific asset was increased? The asset that was increased is accounts receivable, because this 560,000 are receivable from customers. Therefore, even if you did not receive cash, your asset was increased because accounts receivable is an asset. All receivables are assets. The cash that you will receive in the future are considered assets. Therefore, the entry is debit accounts receivable 560,000 pesos, and that happened on April 10, 2020. So if there is a debit, there must be credit. Of course, you will credit 560,000 pesos, but what specific account title will be used? Since this is sale transaction, there was an increase in revenue. Increase in revenue means credit. What is specific revenue? That is sales. Therefore, credit sales 560,000 pesos. So that is the entry. Again, I will repeat the entry on April 10, 2020. Debit accounts receivable 560,000 pesos and credit sales 560,000 pesos, and the transaction is sold merchandise on account. Next transaction, paid 100,000 pesos of accounts payable dated April 6, 2020. So take note, this transaction refers to the transaction of April 6, 2020. Meaning, you purchase merchandise on account on April 6, 2020. So out of your total purchases on account, you paid 100,000 pesos. On April 6, actually, you created a liability. And that liability is called accounts payable. And that accounts payable represents purchase of merchandise on account dated April 6, 2020. But here, we are paying 100,000 pesos out of the accounts payable that we created on April 6, 2020. If you paid your accounts payable, what is the account affected? Your liability is affected. What is the effect in your liability? Is it a decrease or increase? There was a decrease in liability. According to our lesson in lecture 2, decrease in liability means debit. Therefore, since accounts payable is a liability and there was a decrease in liability, we will debit accounts payable 100,000 pesos, and that happened on April 11, 2020. I will repeat, since there was a decrease in liability, you debited accounts payable of 100,000 pesos. what are the other accounts affected? You paid, meaning you pay cash. You gave cash to the supplier, and the amount of cash that you have given to the supplier is 100,000 pesos. If you gave cash to the supplier, your asset was reduced because cash is an asset. Therefore, since there was a decrease in asset, our entry is credit cash of 100,000 pesos. I will repeat. The entry on April 11 is debit accounts payable 100,000 pesos and credit cash 100,000 pesos, and that pertains to the payment of 100,000 of accounts payable way back April 6, 2020. I hope this is clear to everybody. So on the left side is labeled our transactions, and that is also served as your explanation for every journal entry. Next, let's go to page 3 or page 4 of the general journal. So what is the next transaction? Collected 160,000 pesos on accounts receivable dated April 10, 2020. If we will go back to April 10, we sold merchandise, but we did not receive cash. Our customer made a promise. They promised that they will pay us in the future, and that future is today. They paid 160,000 pesos out of your accounts receivable. You collected 160,000 from the customers. That means you received cash, and cash is an asset. If you receive cash, that means there was an increase in asset. Increase in asset means debit. Therefore, the entry is debit cash 160,000 pesos, and that happened on April 13, 2020. I will repeat. Debit cash 160,000 pesos because there was a collection of your accounts receivable. You collected 160,000 pesos from the customer who made a promise way back April 10, 2020. If there is a debit, there must be a credit with the same amount of 160,000 pesos. What is the credit? What is the account affected? The account affected is also an asset. The account affected is your accounts receivable. You will credit accounts receivable. You will credit an asset because your asset was reduced. Your accounts receivable was reduced by 160,000 because collection was made from the customer. So in this case, there was an increase in asset of 160,000. At the same time, there was a decrease of the same amount because accounts receivable is also an asset. Therefore, the entry is credit accounts receivable 160,000 pesos. Again, I will repeat the entry on April 13, 2020. The date of collection of accounts receivable is debit cash 160,000 pesos and credit accounts receivable 160,000 pesos, and the explanation is collection of 160,000 pesos on accounts receivable dated April 10, 2020. So that is the entry for that particular transaction. Next. The company paid insurance policy of 24,000 pesos because in business we cannot avoid insurance. We have to insure our property, our properties that includes our merchandise that we purchase, so that in case of any untoward incident, the insurance company will pay us for any loss or damages. So when we paid insurance policy, what are the accounts affected? Is there an effect in the total assets? The answer is yes. Because according to our lecture 1, when we paid insurance, we acquire an asset, and that asset is called prepaid insurance. The insurance premium that we paid for an insurance policy is an asset. Why asset? Because we expect something in the future. If something happens to us, the insurance policy will pay us. We have benefits. That is why anything that will give us benefit is an asset. So prepaid insurance is an asset. There was an increase in asset. Therefore, the entry is debit. Prepaid insurance, 24,000 pesos, and that happened on April 16, 2020. What are the other accounts affected? Is asset affected? The answer is yes, because you paid cash. Your asset was reduced. Also, although there was an increase in asset in the form of prepaid insurance, there is likewise a decrease in asset because you paid cash of 24,000 pesos. Therefore, the entry is credit cash of 24,000 pesos. Next transaction. We paid our salaries. We paid salaries of our employees. This is our legal obligation. And the amount of salaries that we paid is 97,000 pesos. What are the accounts affected? Is there an increase? If yes, what particular increase? There was an increase. Yes. What account? That is increase in expenses. What is specific expense? Salaries expense. According to our lesson, increase in expenses means debit. Therefore, we will debit salaries expense of 97,000 pesos, and that happened on April 17, 2020. Debit salaries expense 97,000 pesos, and credit what? Of course, we will credit 97,000 also. But what account title? We paid cash. There was a cash payout. Therefore, our asset was reduced. Decrease in asset means credit. That is why credit cash 97,000 pesos. So that is the entry. Again, I will repeat. When we paid salaries of our employees, the entry is debit salaries expense 97,000 pesos and credit cash 97,000 pesos. I hope that is understandable to everybody. Next transaction. We will now proceed to page 5 of our general journal. So the next transaction is we paid the following expenses. We paid 15,000 for office supplies, 65,000 for advertising, 34,000 for communication, and 13,000 for utilities. Increase in expenses means debit. Therefore, we will debit all these expenses. We will debit office supplies 15,000. That happened on April 25, 2020. Debit advertising expense 65,000. Debit communication expense 34,000. Debit utilities expense 13,000. If we will get the total expenses that we paid is 127,000. So if that is the total, there must be a credit of 127,000 pesos. What specific account will be credited? Was there an increase in asset? There is none. Was there a decrease in asset? Yes. What is specific asset? Cash. Because you paid cash. Therefore, credit cash of 127,000 pesos. That is the total of the 4 expenses. As we have said, decrease in asset means credit. Again, I will repeat the entry on April 25, 2020. Debit office supplies expense 15,000. Debit advertising expense 65,000. Debit communication expense 34,000 pesos. Debit utilities expense 13,000 pesos and credit cash of 127,000 pesos. Last transaction. So the owner herself made a withdrawal of 27,000 pesos for her own personal expenses. So the owner withdrew from the business, and that 27,000 pesos will be taken from her capital investment. If that will be taken from her capital, the capital will be reduced. According to our lesson, if there is a withdrawal in capital, there is a decrease in capital. Decrease in capital means debit. Therefore, the entry is debit Alexa Grace capital of 27,000 pesos that happened on April 30, 2020. So if we have a debit of 27,000 pesos, there must be a credit of also of 27,000 pesos. What is credit? You paid cash. The business paid cash, and that cash was given to the owner. If we paid cash, there was a reduce in asset. What asset? Cash. Reduce or decrease in asset means credit. Therefore, the entry is credit cash 27,000 pesos. So, these are the transactions for the month of April 2020. The next step that we are going to do is to get the total of debit and get the total of credit. The two must be balanced. The two must have the same amount. Let's proceed. So we will get the total of the debit and the total of the credit. The two must be the same. So after obtaining the total of the debit side, the debit column, we arrive at an amount of 4,587,000 pesos. If you have your calculator right now, you can do the addition of the total debit, and your total debit must be 4,587,000 pesos. If you will get the total credit, the total is also 4,587,000 pesos. You may wonder why we are getting the total. You may ask why. Why is there a need to determine, to ensure that the total debit must be equal to the total credit? What is the essence of that balancing of figures concerning debit and credit? In preparing journal entries, the total debits and the total credits should be equal at all times, because this is part of the recording process. If you will record transactions, always make sure that the recorded transactions are true and accurate. Remember, the journal entry is the book of original entry. The general journal is the book of original entry. Therefore, everything must be correct. And having a balanced figure concerning debit and credit is an indication that our entries are correct. That is why I indicated here the purpose of balancing is to ensure that all transactions recorded in the general journal, which is the book of original entry, are true and accurate. So we will continue our discussion on the next lecture. Please do not miss the next lecture. It concerns posting of transactions from the general journal to the general ledger, and after that we will prepare trial balance. The preparation of trial balance is just the beginning of the process in preparing financial statements. So the trial balance must be balanced so that we can proceed with the preparation of the journal of the financial statements. So temporarily we will stop here. We will continue on our next lecture. Thank you very much and good afternoon.